Hello, Barrett's Chapel Wildcats. This is Miss Miller. We are excited to welcome Wildcats back in the building, but we are sure you have many questions. The purpose of this parent forum is to provide guidance about student re-entry protocol and expectations unique to Barrett's Chapel. Superintendent Ray announced a gradual return to in-person learning, which will begin Monday, March 1st. Students in grades pre-K through 5 will return March 1st, and students in grades 6 through 8 will return March 8th. All students will revert back to their regular bell times beginning March 1st. That means Barrett's Chapel will start school at 8:15, with the building being open to receive students at 8 o'clock. Our district is committed to providing the best learning experiences for our students. Coronavirus pandemic has changed how we see the world. However, we know that we must continue to keep our students safe, teach them, and provide social, emotional support through this incredible time. When students and staff enter the school building, you can expect the following things to continue. We will have safety protocols in place for everyone. Students will be using their SCS devices every day. We will social distance when possible. We will continue to deliver high quality instruction and provide social, emotional support. All students entering the building must bring their SCS device and charger every day to school. Students should also make sure their device is fully charged every morning. All students and teachers will continue to use Microsoft Teams for all learning and teaching. This means whether at home or in the school building, all students will be expected to stay logged into Teams using their computers for the entire school day. All students, whether virtually at home or learning in the school building, will be expected to have their computers fully charged for the beginning of the day. We will have charging stations at school when needed. Make sure students returning to the building store their device in a protected backpack when traveling to and from the school building. Our district has been hard at work making sure procedures are put in place for a safe and stronger return to the school building. Some of our safety protocols include the following. Increased cleaning. All common areas will be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected at least twice per day. Thorough cleaning and disinfection of all the frequently touched areas at least 4 times per day. Daily restock of all tissue, paper towels, hand soap, and hand sanitizer. Safeguards to limit the spread of germs will also be put in place. Temperature and health monitoring for all students, staff, and visitors. Those with a fever or symptoms will not be allowed to remain at school. Isolation areas have been designated for individuals with symptoms. Social distancing markers in all buildings, reduced class transitions, and reduced visitor volume. Limiting class interactions and gatherings. Hand sanitizer stations in all common areas and hallways, and frequent opportunities for hand washing. We will also be using personal protective equipment, otherwise known as PPE. Face mask requirements for students, staff, and visitors will be based on current guidance from the Centers of Disease Control, Shelby County Health Department, and local government ordinances. All buildings will be equipped with the emergency stock of PPE. We will also have health and safety signage in all of our buildings. Social distancing floor decals will be placed on the floors. Visiting, entry guidelines, and mask requirements, and hand washing, steps to avoid germs, and stay at home when sick signs. Each grade level will be with the same set of students, teachers, and adults all day. While they still follow their current schedule through Microsoft Teams, through strategic planning, each grade will only physically see the same adults for the school day. For example, a 3rd grade student will only see their 3rd grade teachers and one assistant for the school day as they are being taught virtually on their SCS devices. They will still have their lab classes, but only through the computer. All students will go through a temperature check before entering the building. Bus riders will exit the bus and wait on social distance markings to enter the building until after their temperatures have been checked. Car riders will wait to exit their car until someone has taken their temperature. Again, All car riders must wait until they have had their temperature checked before leaving their. Students will start entering the building at 8 a.m. Students found to have an elevated temperature upon first reading will undergo a second reading. Then, if students still have a temperature, they will be sent to the safety room. As students enter the building, hand sanitizer stations will be available. Students will walk down the right side of the hallway, walking 6 feet apart. Parents, we ask that you check your child's temperature before leaving home, and if your child has an elevated temperature, please keep them at home for the day. Parents will not be permitted to walk their students to class this year. The school will open at 8 a.m. Students, you must stay in your cars until your temperature has been taken. Car riders will enter in the front of the school building by the office area, while care will enter by the cafeteria doors. As you can see on this slide, Durham employees will also be screened each day as they arrive to the work site. They also will be required to wear a disposable or clean reusable mask. Buses will be cleaned inside with spray twice daily between each route. Hand sanitizer will be available on all buses for student and driver usage. Bus drivers will be provided additional masks for distribution to students as needed. Drivers will disinfect high-touch surfaces throughout the day. They will also ensure the first row of the bus is empty to encourage social distancing. The drivers will wear a mask while driving unless it causes a safety concern, such as glasses fogging up. Drivers will use gloves when touching surfaces that may be contaminated. The use of natural ventilation, such as opening the windows to increase outdoor air dilution of indoor air when the environment conditions allow, will happen. Students should practice social distancing at the bus stop and wear their mask. Students will sit in assigned seats on the bus, with siblings being allowed to sit together. Schools will return to their original bell times and school times, which for Barrett's Chapel is 8:15. Bus routes will remain the same for now. Buses will be cleaned and disinfected between routes and at the end of the day. Students who ride the bus will be required to wear a mask. Students will undergo temperature checks upon arrival at school. If students are found to have an elevated reading after 2 checks, they will be escorted to the isolation room and parents will be contacted to pick up their child. Every effort will be made for students to have recess with their class cohort while engaging in some degree of physical distancing. Students will sanitize their hands before and after recess. Unfortunately, playground equipment will be inaccessible. Throughout the school day, teachers and students can disinfect classroom supplies and materials with wipes supplied by the school. Lockers will not be used this school year. The students will store their belongings at their desk. Community school supplies will not be available. Dismissals will be scheduled on a staggered basis and will include the 6 feet social distancing protocol. Restroom breaks, lunch breaks, recess, and other activities will be scheduled on a staggered basis and will be aligned with the most current CDC and Shelby County Health Department guidelines. Students will eat breakfast and lunch in the classrooms. Breakfast will be available from 8 to 8:15 unless we have a late bus. Students will be given breakfast as they enter the building after they have sanitized their hands. Lunch and break time will be from 12:10 until 1 o'clock unless otherwise notified. Devices must be put away while food is being consumed. Virtual parents will still be able to pick up meals at school sites on the designated pickup days. Parents will not be allowed to enter the school building to pick up their students. Carers and walkers will be called to the front office hallway to be picked up as their cars arrive. Students will stand on 6 feet social distancing markers, and families may stand together. Walkers will line up by the trophy case 6 feet apart and will be escorted to the exit by the church. Students will be required to wear a mask as they exit the building to their awaiting cars and parents. Parents will not be allowed to exit their cars or gather in groups while waiting for students to dismiss. Bus riders will be dismissed via intercom as buses arrive on campus. Students' masks must be worn properly before entering the bus, during the bus ride, and upon exiting the school bus. Lawn care programs will be available for students returning to the school building and are in need of before and after school care. Teachers and students will sanitize their hands prior to entering and leaving the classroom and practice social distancing. Lawn care will be located in the cafeteria. Teachers and students are required to wear face masks or face shields while in lawn care. As students leave the Y Care cafeteria, they will be required to clean their area with wipes. Most of our classrooms will be used for instruction. We will also be using the library, computer lab, gym, and cafeteria when needed. Most classes will have fewer than 14 students and will be in a regular classroom. However, if over 14, we will be placing students in a larger room in order to spread them out more. Now let's talk about classroom instruction and what that will look like at Barrett's Chapel. All pre-K through 8 students will be engaged in asynchronous learning February 22nd through the 26th. Students will also engage in this asynchronous learning on the following days as teachers help in-person students learn routines and procedures at school. March 1st and 2nd will be asynchronous days for pre-K through 5. March 8 and 9 will be asynchronous for grades 6 through 8. In order to have a successful school day, students will need to bring their fully charged SES device and power cord daily. Students will also need to bring their clean and disinfected headsets. Instructional content and curriculum will remain the same through our Microsoft Teams app. Quarantined and sick students will receive distance learning instruction. Attendance will be taken daily in Power School. Teachers will call roll using Microsoft Teams and record attendance in Power School within the first 15 minutes of every class period. All students learning virtually should have their cameras on and be sitting in front of the camera with their headset on. This is an overview in the day in the life of a teacher and the expectations for providing instruction. The purpose of this slide is to show the equity of in-person and at-home learning. All of the instructional practices are easily implemented via the Teams platform. Teachers are expected to use Teams to conduct differentiated whole group and small group instructions. All students have access to one-on-one teaching with teachers during asynchronous learning times. The only difference in the at-home and the at-school student experience is who is monitoring their work. Now let's look at what a Barrett's Chapel student schedule may look like. Let's take a look at the scenario of Angela, who has chosen in-person learning at Barrett's Chapel. As you can tell, she travels to school, and then at 8 o'clock, she enters the building, gets her temperature checked, gets her breakfast, goes to class, and eats it. Then at 8:15, she also washes her hands, and class begins. She has time to take breaks in the classroom, go to the restroom during this time, and wash your hands during this time. This happens as well as in-class instruction from 8:15 until 12:10. Then from 12:10 to 1 o'clock, she washes her hands, eats lunch, and has a break from the computer. And then at 1 o'clock, they resume class again. She signs back onto the Teams app with her teacher, and she resumes classes for the afternoon. Then at 3 o'clock, she prepares to go home and exits the building. As you can see, that is very similar to Karen, except that Karen has chosen virtual at-home learning. Karen wakes up at 6:30. She brushes her teeth, showers, combs her hair, and gets ready for the day. Then at 8 o'clock, she logs on to her virtual class. She receives instruction from her teacher via Teams app. She receives asynchronous and synchronous learning throughout the school day. And she takes stretch breaks in between morning classes and transitions. At 12:10, she also eats a healthy lunch and takes a break from the computer. And then at 1 o'clock, she logs back on to finish out her day. And at 3 o'clock, school is out and Karen is free to enjoy her afternoon. Social and emotional learning, otherwise known as SEL, is the process through which children and adults understand and manage emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Students participating in SEL programs have displayed improved classroom behavior and an increased ability to manage stress and depression, and have better attitudes about themselves and others in school. We have set aside time each morning during homeroom to address our students' social and emotional needs. If you see your child is struggling in this area, please reach out to our school counselors and your child's teacher. In preparation for the reopening of schools for in-person learning, SCS has implemented extensive procedures to address positive cases of COVID-19. This process includes investigating schools and mitigating a plan of action to protect students and employees. SCS follows all appropriate protocols for reporting cases based on the Shelby County Health Department guidance. As you can tell from this flow chart, we are asking parents, guardians, and employees to self-report positive cases to the school principal. I will then notify the SCS contact tracing team and initiate in-school contact tracing. The SCS contact tracing team will report the case to the Shelby County Health Department to implement mitigation strategies. If the Shelby County Health Department is notified first, they will notify SCS of a confirmed case. Then the SCS contact tracing team will notify me, the principal, of the confirmed case, and we will initiate the in-school site contact tracing team to implement the mitigation strategies. To report a case or ask questions about contact tracing, parents should contact their child's school, and our number is 901-416-0325, or you can email a positive case to Miss Cal in the office, and her email is listed on this slide. The investigative process includes reviewing the student's schedule, determining whether the student rode the school bus, participates in athletics or extracurricular activities, and confirming if there are any members of the household at other district schools and facilities. The mitigation strategies include the school building facility will be sanitized thoroughly following CDC and Shelby County Health Department requirements. Anyone at the school or location recognized as being in close contact with individuals who tested positive for COVID-19 will be contacted directly by the school principal or designee. The principal or designee will also inform the school community, including parents and employees, whenever there is a positive case. Several parents have called and asked how they can update their child's learning option. Parents can visit the school, can call the school, or they can call the SEED office to change and update their school's learning option. If you call the school or visit us, we will be happy to assist you. Our school number is 416-0325. This is a form that we can use to change a student's learning option. If you need help, please call the school. We do have a safe room at Barrett's Chapel for any student, staff member, or faculty member that has symptoms throughout the day. We will ensure that anyone entering the safe room maintains and uses appropriate PPE and follows safety guidelines. We will complete the appropriate incident forms for anyone entering the safe room and maintain an electronic log. The parent or guardian will be immediately notified of the status of a symptomatic student upon the student's entry into the safe room. We will also ask that parent to immediately pick up their student from school and seek medical attention. And we will follow emergency medical protocol if the condition warrants. Parents and guardians must provide medical clearance from a provider before the student can return to school. We also have disinfecting protocols for our safe room. The principal or my designee will monitor the symptoms and will follow these action steps after an individual is admitted into the safe room. We will notify our cleaning staff, and once they have vacated the classroom or the area, the custodial staff will clean and disinfect the area. Any student who tested positive will need a clearance letter from the student's doctor or one of the SES school-based health centers. Close contacts do not need any documentation. Any student who cannot return to school for a period of time will be expected to attend class virtually unless they are too sick to do so. A close contact, per the health department, is within 6 feet, 15 minutes or longer. However, the district's tracing team will determine who those close contacts are. Close contacts are not required to be tested. This slide shows some other frequently asked questions. Please make sure you refer to it. If you have any other questions, make sure you reach out to our school. Our school number is 416-0325. As Dr. Ray has said, the coronavirus will not defeat us. As you can see from the slide, Memphis has seen its share of epidemics and pandemics. They were eventually conquered by public health initiatives and a vaccine. The aftermath, however, gifted our city with a determination, grit, endurance, and a strong sense of community that defines us today. There is comfort in knowing that Memphis has seen worse and not only survived, we thrived. For any other questions, please reach out to our school. Our school phone number is 901-416-0325. Thank you and have a great day.